Hello, Mrs. Houston here with Regents Review. This is question 23. Morgan read that a snail moves about 72 feet per day. He performs the calculation. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of different conversions getting multiplied to convert this rate to different units. What are the units for the converted rate? Okay. So when we have something like this, when we're trying to convert, our goal is to get units to cancel out. All right. And if you just think about like any number, let's say 5. If you have 5 over 5, it cancels out and it gives you 1. Kind of the same idea here. When you're doing a conversion, you need 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom to be able to cancel out. So the first thing that's standing out to me right here is days. I can cancel that out. Then I have hours. Then I have foot and feet that cancel out. Okay, so there's only 2 units left. Inches per minute. Inches per minute. Choice 4. Make sure that inches is on the top because it was on the top here. Notice that they put minutes per inch as well. 24, during summer vacation, Ben decides to sell hot dogs and pretzels on a food cart in Manhattan. It costs Ben 50 cents for each hot dog and 40 cents for each pretzel. He has only $100 to spend each day on hot dogs and pretzels. He wants to sell at least 200 items each day. If H is the number of hot dogs and P is the number of pretzels, which inequality would be part of a system of inequalities used to determine the total number of hot dogs and pretzels Ben can sell? Okay, that's a long question, isn't it? But the key part here, you see that we're writing a system of inequalities. So we're going to have to write out 2 different inequalities. All right. And in this type of a scenario where they give you money, you have to make sure that all the money goes together. All right. So we have 50 cents for a hot dog, 40 cents for a pretzel, and he has only $100 to spend. Okay, those 3 numbers are all going to go together in one inequality. We also know that he wants to sell at least 200 items each day. Okay, and they don't give us other numbers to go with that one, so we'll see here in a minute. But one of the keys here too is that they tell us H is the number of hot dogs and P is the number of pretzels. So if I go back to what I underlined in green, if it's 50 cents for a hot dog and H is the number of hot dogs, I'm going to have to do 50 cents times the number of hot dogs, or times H. Okay, and then P is the number of pretzels, and it's 40 cents for each pretzel. So I'm going to have to do 40 cents times P. Okay, and when you're figuring out the total that you're spending each day, you're going to have to add those 2 together. Now, when you go to a store with $100 to spend, you know, since this is an inequality, we're thinking, can we spend more than that? Or do we have to spend less than that? Okay, and hopefully you're thinking you have to spend less than that. It's okay if you get change back, but you can't have a bill be over $100, or, you know, they wouldn't give you the items. Now let's take a look here. He wants to sell at least 200 items. That's highlighted in purple here. So the key with this one is it's just the number of items. So remember, H is the number of hot dogs. P is the number of pretzels. If I want to know how many items altogether I sold, all you have to do is add H plus P. Okay, and the key with this inequality is that it's at least 200 items. So he wants to sell 200 at the lowest, but he could sell more than 200, which would translate to greater than or equal to 200. All right, so now we've translated the system, and let's take a look at our options And I see that these options over here, 3 and 4, don't make sense. Okay, because this was supposed to be 100 on this side, not the number of items. This was the cost. All right, so if we changed that to 100, we would see that choice 4 was right, but it wasn't. Okay, so then I see here that choice 2 matches with what I wrote in purple. That's it for the multiple choice.